Good afternoon, Frans. For our viewers, I'm here with Frans Tieleman, who is operating partner at ARA Partners, a relatively new venture from the US. Frans, you want to introduce ARA Partners and tell us a little bit about what your raison d'etre is before I start the questions?
Sure, thanks a lot, David. Good to see you again. ARA is now investing from its Fund 3, so we've been around for a while. We are focused on decarbonated investments. So we invest in companies that have a product that is less carbon intensive or that have services that enable decarbonization.
Okay, so you're the perfect person to speak to regarding the role of PE in ESG and helping the energy transition. So my first question is, through the ESG lens, how do heavily emitting sectors attract investment to do this transition?
It's a great question. Heavily emitting sectors are the ones you should work against, first. You should really transform them. And we feel at ARA that there is a ton of very industrial stuff that needs to be done. And a lot of it with existing technologies. And so that's what our focus is. How do we attract capital? Well, we just have to find the right opportunities that enable us to deliver very high returns. And why can we deliver those returns? Because it's just extremely large, the scope of things you need to do. And so we could pick and choose the opportunities that have the highest returns.
But within the sectors like natural resources, agriculture, transport, who are not very popular, is there anything they can do to make themselves more attractive? And what's PE roles in it? Is PE going to go for the lower hanging fruit of other sectors?
Each and every sector needs to be decarbonated. Mm-hmm. And where there is an industrial component, we feel competent to look at it and to enable that transition. And so, it could be energy, but it could also be transport. I was just saying, there are people deploying transport infrastructure, charging stations, which we're not investing in right now, but also batteries, and we're investing in the electric battery value chain because we feel there are some interesting bits in that value chain which are very, very high potential developments. So yes, transport we are. Agriculture you mentioned, we have an investment in an agricultural business that produces disposable cups and plates and disposable packaging for people like Amazon. So definitely there's a ton to be done there. I forget the third, but we're multi-sector in terms of where that applies.
Do you think the Americans are ahead when it comes to carbon neutral investment, and is there something the Europeans can learn from you guys? Is there a magic formula that ARA has that makes it easier? Or
I think that I see ARA as a sector-focused fund, so we are very specific about where we invest, and that helps us deliver superior returns. I don't think that Europeans or Americans have a better solution. I think it's great that many people are trying to work out a solution to our carbon problems, and so I think Europe has a very interesting regulatory environment from that perspective, and the US has done some very significant steps and has a booming industry in that direction as well. So there's opportunities on both sides.
Super interesting. I think we should ask you to come back in September for the IPAM in Paris and see whether you can give us an update of what has happened since.
I'd be honored. Thanks.
Thank you, Frans.
Thanks, David.